ahead and leave it in the chat. Let me know in the chat, or you can text me. We'll let Coach Satterfield open us up with his statement, and then we'll get you guys with questions.
Yeah, good afternoon, guys. Just, obviously very excited about what happened this past weekend. Our guys came out. We had a really good plan, really a good past 2 weeks for practice, and came out and played really well. A lot of big plays offensively, starting the game off. I think other than the first drive they had that they went down and got some points, defense played really well and, knocked down a ton of balls. Probably should have had a little bit few more interceptions there, but and I think just overall exciting football game for us and our team, and it's certainly something to build off of. And we're excited to get back to work on Sunday, yesterday, and to get a game plan together today. And so we're excited also about hosting Virginia Tech coming in here this weekend, and we're looking forward to that matchup.
All right, we'll start with Jody and then go to Dan Wolken.
Coach, hey, it's Jody Dimley with Cardinal Authority. You've talked both the last 2 weeks about the week leading up to practice. How different was the week leading up to Notre Dame and the week leading up to Florida State than maybe they were before? And in what ways were they different that you guys maybe prepared better?
Yeah, I just think it's a lot of the little things that sometimes we end up taking for granted. But, just like guys showing up on time when they're supposed to show up, and going and getting treatment, basically all the little things, the accountability type things that good teams do on a consistent basis. And I just felt like early on in the year, just too many things that were not tightened up with being on time, or certain guys here and there. I'm not saying it was the whole team, but I mean you take a few guys here and there, and then it just kind of permeates throughout the team. And just the amount of focus that we've had the last 2 weeks has been really, really good. And the guys' eagerness to get here and to want to be here. And I think you can just sense it. And it's not just, in the meetings, but it's, it's coming in the weight room, it's coming in the training room, all those things that you want, championship caliber teams to be about. I think that's what our guys have been doing the last couple of weeks. And all that does, that's what I told them, all that does is give you an opportunity on Saturdays. It doesn't guarantee a win. But the last 2 weeks we've gone out and we've played pretty good. We didn't win Notre Dame, but we beat Florida State. So, again, we got to have that same approach and bring that every single week to give ourselves a chance to play good on Saturday.
Dan.
Yeah, hey, Scott. I was just curious, next Tuesday you guys have a mandatory day off from the NCAA due to the election. Is there any part of you as a football coach that looks at that and says, man, I only have a few days to prepare for a game against Virginia. I wish I had that time. Or, is it so important what the NCAA did that you're okay with it?
Well, I think the fact of having an opportunity to provide for your players to go vote, I think is a big thing. It's certainly something that needed to be done. Now, the way the approach with that is, for our guys, we have a lot of guys that are out of state, so we've gotten all our guys are registered to vote. And to handle that absentee ballots, which has already been taken care of. And then the polls have already been open here in Kentucky, for over a week now. So I would say most all our guys have gone ahead and taken care of that anyway. So that Tuesday, is a day, basically is going to be just a day off, for our guys. And so for us, normally that Monday is the day off. And so what it does for us is just, you're changing routine up. So now you got to practice Monday, you give the Tuesday the day off, but I think the whole idea about making sure that everybody has time to go handle their obligation and duty to vote. I think that's the premise is really, really good. I think in reality, as you go back and look at it, where you have a lot of guys that are from out of state and they have to use the absentee ballot, so there's not anywhere to go anyway. So then they say, well, you have an opportunity to go do any kind of community service. Well, for us, Monday is that day as well. That's been their day off to where they can go out and do some things in the community. So. I understand the premise behind it, and really, kind of drawn attention to say NCAA saying, hey, we're going to, focus on that. But I get it. But our guys have already handled their business with it.
So just to button this up real quick, you think it's fair to say that most of your guys will have already voted by next Tuesday, the ones that were going to vote?
That's correct.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, let's do Cameron and then Tyler Grieber.
Hey, Scott. At the end of the game on Saturday, you guys were able to get a lot of young guys in, get a lot of young guys in time. Just when you look back on film, what did you see from some of those young guys? And I know Marvin Dallas looked like he went down. I don't know if you have any info on kind of what his injury might be.
Yeah, Marvin really had a couple of nice plays on kickoff team, flying down the field, making some good plays. Ended up hurting his thumb there. Had a surgery that after the game that afternoon, and probably will be out this week. But then next week has an opportunity to maybe come back. It's kind of type of injury where we can put a cast on it and he'll be able to come back and play. A lot of that's going to depend on how much it heals over the next week or so. But I would say he'd be out this week. But everything went good with it, when should be back. But yeah, there's a lot of young guys, and I think games like that is a great opportunity to get guys on the field, particularly late in the game. And a lot of the guys made some plays and did some good things. That was great. We got Trevor Reed in at left tackle, his first time he's got to play, and it was really good to see him play. Did some really good things, and Watkins as a freshman was in there, threw a ball to him in the end zone, ended up getting a PI call against that, So yeah, it was good. Saw Lovey Jenkins, saw Minkins, in there. I mean, there were several guys I thought that got in the game and played. And but these guys work hard too, and we want to be able to get them in the game. We talked about even trying to play them regardless of what the score was. But but in those type of games, it's obviously great in the fourth quarter to get them in the game. I also saw an old guy in the game, Puma pass, which was great in the fourth quarter to get him in his first action this year. And we talked a little bit about Puma, but our guys on this team had respect and love him tremendously. And there was a big ovation when he was able to get in the game and actually play. Did a great job, took us down the field, got a touchdown there, and really handled himself great. And so anyway, it was awesome to be able to get him in and see him go out there and perform well.
Hey, Coach, it seemed like against Florida State, Malik was able to kind of spread the ball around a little bit more and get more guys involved in the offense. Was that a point of emphasis from you to him in preparation, or was that just him working through his progressions a little bit better?
Well, we certainly, try to spread the ball around. We got a lot of playmakers, and a lot of it has to do with what the defense is trying to, what they're going to give us. But it all started up front. I thought our offensive line did a really nice job of opening up some holes, and Hawkins got some good runs early, and we were able to mix up the run and pass and be very efficient. I think Cunningham was maybe only had one incompletion at halftime, and that's the efficiency that we would love to have in the passing game, particularly when your running game is working as well. And when you're doing that, you're hard to stop. I mean, we were just in a nice rhythm there, a ton of big plays. And then we've been very efficient down in the red zone. I think that's been a strong suit for us offensively to be able to put points on the board. And, so, yeah, I obviously want to mix it up. And if you get spread out a lot of different guys, I think now the defense cannot just key on one person. But, certainly our playmakers made plays. I mean, Hawkins had maybe his best game this year. Tutu, he only had 3 catches, but they were all big plays. Dez had a couple nice catches, were big plays, were first downs for us. And, Ford, couple nice plays as well. But yeah, it was fun to see a bunch of different guys touch the ball, and they all made plays.
All right, Michael McCammon, and then we'll go to Russ.
Hey, Coach, Michael from Cardinal Authority here. When you look at Virginia Tech, they seem like they prefer the run first. But when you look at them on film, where do they stand out offensively that is going to give your defense the most challenge?
Yeah, I mean, I think what it is just you mentioned it. I mean, they want to run the football. When they're able to do that and control the game, they're a tough team to beat. We've got to do a great job of containing the run game. But what makes them so special is the fact that they run their quarterback. He's a guy, and really it's any of their quarterbacks. I mean, they all can run. They've played, I think, maybe 3 guys this year, and utilize a lot of different formations. But their running back's one of the best in the country right now. Is rushing the football. He's also a great return man, and but then you add that to the fact where now the quarterback can pull the ball and hit off the opposite side. So now your defense has to defend the whole field. And that's what makes them so good. And then, the other thing that's probably they don't get as much notoriety with is the play action off of the run. I mean, it's a little bit like what we're trying to do. I mean, a lot of the zone principles, you're able to run your quarterback, and then when you load up and now you got somebody running free. So they've done it. They just do a nice job offensively. They're they controlling games, running the football, but they're also big playing you with some of the pass game stuff. And tight end does a nice job of catching the ball as well. But obviously I think the strength of their team is running the football, and that's what they want to do.
Russ.
Yeah, Scott, Russ Brown, Kentucky Today. You mentioned the change in focus and some little things the last couple of weeks. What was the difference? In other words, did you see things sliding? Did you do anything to get their attention? Why wasn't this happening, the first 4 or 5 games?
Well, I think anytime you're going through some adversity, and we have as a football team, particularly not being able to finish out games and get the wins, and so everybody start looking at everything, and us as a staff, what can we tighten up on? Where do we need to help out ourselves because we're really close, to winning these games, and for whatever reason we're not finishing out, but it always comes back to the little things, and so you find out, you start looking at things on a day-to-day basis. How can we be more consistent? And so we just point them out. We have team meetings. We talk about it, individual meetings, all the different position meetings to figure out what we need to do better. And that's kind of one of the things we've kind of focused on, and it's helped. I mean, our guys' focus have been better. The consistency has been better. And again, all it does is give you a chance on game day. Because you can go back. I mean, there's 1 or 2 plays in the Pitt game and Georgia Tech game and the Notre Dame game where you're right there. But that's all it takes is 1 or 2 plays. And so that's kind of what we've been focusing on. And when you do that and you play more consistent, then you start seeing what happened Saturday where you're making a lot more plays on both sides of the ball.
Was it mostly just emphasis, or did you have to do any discipline, or how did it work?
Well, we emphasize it. Yeah, for sure. And, and we discipline every week when there are things that are not going on. But the last few weeks, there hasn't been as many guys that have been messing up. I mean, early in the year, you got more and more guys, and so you consistently talk about it, and so and we always talk about we'll be as good as our team wants to be. So because it always comes back to the guys. I mean, they're the ones that are playing, and they're the ones that are trying to gain the knowledge throughout the week of who you're playing, and then how they go out and prepare. So yeah, we focus on it every week, and but our guys have decided the last few weeks to really put the work in.
All right, Jody and Cameron.
Coach, hey, it's Jody again. It seemed like the offensive line was a little bit better the other day than they have been. Not that they had been bad early in the year, but it seemed like they were really kind of controlling things for you up front on Saturday.
Yeah, I thought they played well. I think it was their best game up front. And, you look going into the game, you're looking at Florida State's D-line. I mean, 6'7", 6'5", 6'5", 6'5", big guys, very athletic. When they wanted to turn it on, they could. And I tell you, they did a great job throughout the game with our offensive line because they did bring some pressures, some of the same pressures that we've seen throughout the year that we didn't pick up, and we picked these up. And I'm talking mainly in the run game, and there's a few times in the pass game, and then we had some really big plays off of it. Their guys did a great job with that, and you go back to like the Pitt game where some pressures they were bringing, we did not pick up very well, and we gave up a bunch of sacks, tackles for loss. But in this game, the guys did a much better job with that up front, and our tight ends in blocking for the run game. And I think that's why our run game was so much better. And that enables you and allows you to maybe take more shots, throw the ball down the field because the run game was good.
Cameron.
Yeah, Scott, kind of going back in your career, 2014, similar season. I mean, you were 1-5, we ended on a big win streak and really kind of rolled from there. What lessons or takeaways you have from that season that you think helped, that you applied this year and you think are helping at the moment?
Yeah, well, I think, throughout that, we were going through some things. I think there's some similarities, but at the beginning of the season that year, we were real close back in 2014. We didn't find ways to win. I mean, it's very similar to this past season, the one we're going through now. And we just kept doing the things that we thought were working in practice and in our preparation, and it started to show up a little bit on game day. And then you start getting some confidence. And then when you get confidence, man, in this game, it goes a long way. Some guys think they can do things, and you even play a little bit better than what you probably are. And, the last couple of weeks, our guys have gained a lot of confidence. Notre Dame game, and we didn't win, but we got confidence in that one. And then this past weekend, and so that just kind of every day you start thinking what can I do to get better, and it just starts snowballing in a positive way. And hopefully that's what we're doing. I mean, we're kind of right in the middle of it right now, and we got a lot of tough games ahead. I mean, any of these teams can beat you. There's no question about it, and you got to show up. But I like the way our guys are preparing. I like the way where their mind's at right now, and we continue that for the next 6 weeks. Hopefully it'll be a lot of good things happening.
And Scott, a quick follow to that. I mean, when you go through something like that in your past, do you mention that to these guys? Like, hey, I've been through this, we can get out of it, or you just don't mention that to a new group?
Well, no, I mean, yeah, we've talked about it a little bit, and I think there was a bunch of us coaches that were a part of that. And, you fall back on that, as coaches, you fall back on your experience. And so by going through some of that, sometimes, some coaches probably in the past have started to change things. He's like, all right, well, this isn't working. We need to do this, just overhaul something big time. But we didn't, we're sticking with what we're doing. We know it works. The things we changed, just like we talked about, is, being more accountable on a daily basis. And those things help, and they translate into wins. And so what's great about it is the guys have seen the results, have seen how it is working. And so, yeah, so you do fall back on your experiences, and you do talk about it a little bit to the guys, and because you're trying to help them get through this sticky time as well, because it's real easy now. You're 1-4, and it's real easy. Hey man, this season's not going like we like. Let's throw the towel in. That hadn't happened. Our guys are working their tails off and continuing to be hungry. And I think that's the encouraging thing and the fun thing to see on a daily basis.
All right, Tyler Grieber again, then Russ.
Coach, you guys had 12 pass breakups last game. That's a single game record for the school. How have you seen the secondary improve over the season in terms of either maybe being more aggressive or just being in better spots, or what have you seen?
Yeah, they've gotten a lot better. We talked about early in the year, we're giving up too many of the wide open guys. I feel like, the last 2 weeks, the coverage has been a lot tighter. Guys are around the football, and that's why you're seeing a lot of these batted balls and balls that were knocked down, and even opportunities for interceptions. We had a couple at Notre Dame, and we didn't come away with the picks. And then we had about 3 or 4 Saturday where we really should have had the interceptions. And because those are big time game changing plays if you can get an interception. I mean, a pass defended is great, but let's get the pick. And but the guys have gotten better. They're understanding better what they need to do. Defensively, I feel like we've gotten better throughout this year as we've gone along. We're still getting better. We're still learning. We're still not where we need to be, but they've gotten a lot better. We started to get more pressure. I think, go back to the Notre Dame game with 4 sacks. We were in the backfield making this quarterback move off his spot, and that helps. When those guys are trying to run around a little bit back there, now they're throwing on a run. That certainly helped. And, even when, Purdy came in the game, he's 0 for 9 because our guys are, flying around. They're all over the place. And we had some subs in that fourth quarter as well. So it was really good to see how our guys responded there and how they have the last couple of weeks and been tightening up the coverage.
Russ
Brown again. You played 2 ranked teams at this point in the season in the first half. What would you say to people who would suggest that you have a favorable schedule the rest of the way? No top 25 teams, some teams, down near the bottom of the league.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter who you're playing. I mean, you can look at Florida State last week. They were up on North Carolina. What were they ranked? 5? I mean, they were up 31-7 at halftime, and then we beat Florida State 48-16. So, I mean, it doesn't matter. The rankings don't matter. All these teams can beat anybody. It doesn't matter. Whoever shows up, whoever's got the best week of preparation and then goes out to that game and shows up will win the game. And it's as simple as that. It doesn't matter what the records are. You can go back and look at any of these records. A team that's undefeated or a team that's got 1 win. I mean, it doesn't matter. They're still going to be. There's probably one team that's just head and shoulders above everybody else, which is Clemson. Like everybody else in this league, anybody can beat anybody, and it depends on about preparation and who's showing up.
All right, Jody, and then Cameron.
Coach, with you've been getting a lot of the young guys in and some reps here or there. How do you kind of manage the spots of when you do it and not putting them in too tough a situation, but yet you want to see how they do? Like a guy like Greedy Vance, I think, has been in the last couple of weeks. How do you manage those guys moving forward throughout the rest of the year?
Well, I think it depends on who it is. I mean, there's several guys, but you mentioned Greedy. He's a guy that we'd love to be able to get in there, and we are. We're kind of getting him in for a few plays and then getting him out, and then kind of telling him, hey, talking through those plays. And he's done a really nice job. He's come up, knocked some balls down. He's made some tackles. But it's kind of just, picking those spots of where you're at on the field, maybe down in distance scenarios. Certainly when you get a little bit of a lead, you feel a little bit more comfortable because if there is a mistake, you still be able to overcome that. But for some of the guys, and maybe we have a little bit of a package going in and saying, hey, this is where we can get you in on this certain situation. So I think it's just different for each player, depending on who it is. But we certainly want to be able to get these guys in the game and let them play, let them get some experience, because obviously we'll need them down the road.
Cameron, you wrap us up.
All right. Hey, Scott, Ian Pfeiffer he's caught a lot of balls for y'all, a lot of touchdowns. I think he had a nice one on Saturday, dragged his toe. He's a guy who was an offensive lineman before he got here his whole life. I guess when you guys recruited him and you look at him as like he can be a receiving threat, and I guess how did you think he's grown into that from being an offensive lineman to being that threat for you all?
Yeah, I think when we first looked at him, he was more of a blocking guy. He was a guy that played offensive line, lost some weight, so we felt good about it. We needed a blocking tight end on the ball, and that's really why we wanted to bring him in. And we saw him catch some balls on some highlights that he was putting together just on individual workouts, but he's really, really improved. And we talked about in August, maybe one of the more improved players as we came into camp this year, what he did during the pandemic when he was by himself. And I think it's shown this year. We feel very comfortable throwing him the football. He had a nice catch on a naked in the open field, but he also had a nice one for a touchdown. We threw him another one in the back of the end zone, almost had another touchdown. So we feel really comfortable about throwing the ball. He's worked himself into a really, really good tight end that can catch the football. He's a solid blocker. He's been a very, very good bright spot for us. Catching the football. And we all know, we get down close to the red zone. We love Pfeiffer and Ford. Those guys are great weapons down there in the red zone to catch touchdowns. Most of their catches are first downs or touchdowns. That's basically what our tight ends get, first downs or touchdowns. And they're big plays for us. And we have a lot of confidence in them, but Pfeiffer's done a great job for us, and he's a big-time threat. I bet that's something I bet he never thought anybody would use to describe him as a big-time threat, but he is in the red zone for first downs and touchdowns. It's been great to see.
All right, we'll wrap up on that, Coach. We appreciate it. Thanks everybody for being with us.
Thank you, guys.